Now, from the nation's capital, here's the Pentagon Channel's ATS In Brief.
Danger is part of the job for any service member. What are some of the newest ways to deal with it? Around the Services is showing a new series called Dealing with Danger. The latest edition shows us how soldiers are training to take on the enemy face to face. These soldiers have already gone through basic soldiering training at several Army posts, and now they're at Fort Belvoir, where they're learning to be topographic analysts, geodactic surveyors, and lithographers, not normally thought of as dangerous jobs.
Take them out, try to roll.
But the physical training continues. They've got to be ready for anything.
I still don't know where my duty station is, so I'm kind of anticipating that too.
What you're gonna do, you're gonna secure that arm above the elbow with a thumbless grip.
It's unlikely 10 years ago, before the global war on terror, that these soldiers would be doing combatives and warrior drill training. You can see more of Dealing with Danger on Around the Services at PentagonChannel.mil. Tracking the health of U.S. troops is getting easier. A new military deployment health policy calls for daily monitoring of service members through electronic medical record keeping. It'll happen wherever they're stationed around the world.
It puts into one place, one important document, some 40 pages, all the expectations, all the requirements, all the policies that relate to caring for people when they're deployed.
Information is put into a database allowing doctors to assess soldiers' risk factors. Why do women leave the military at higher rates than men? That's one question the Defense Advisory Committee on Women in the Services, or WWII, poses as they visit installations around the military this year.
Right now, there are 20% of the Naval Academy incoming freshmen are going to be women, which is tremendous news. But on the other hand, because at the 5 to 8 year mark, women leave at dramatically higher rates than men, this means that the source of people who are going to fill these billets for, running ships, who do all the really technical skills, running the nuclear plants on ships and so forth, if they leave at that rate, then in 5 years, we're going to be in a real position of need.
You can read the 2005 annual report from WWII at js.pentagon.mil/WWII. Attacks are down for the last couple of weeks in Baghdad, but there was a spike over the weekend. On Sunday, more than 60 people across the country, including 8 American soldiers, died in attacks. Iraqi police say at least 14 people are dead and dozens wounded after suicide bombing Monday in downtown Baghdad.
Vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices decreased by 50% last week for a total of 8, which was the lowest monthly average in almost 8 months. And of course, we've seen that recent spike, though, in the last 48 hours.
Efforts to quell the violence in and around Baghdad won't depend on troop levels alone. That's the word from Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld.
The numbers of the Iraqi security forces are now something in excess of 267,000, I believe. And there is also no question but that you can go in and clear out an area and achieve a reduction in violence. And the test is not that. We know that. The test is what happens thereafter.
The government is stronger than ever. Our armed forces is getting much better than before in number, in quality, in operations. They are leading operations now.
A fishing vessel brought in an unusual catch last week when it hauled in a World War II anti-ship mine. The 20-pound mine was snagged from the floor of the ocean by a dragger net and brought into Gloucester. The State Police Bomb Squad and the Gloucester Fire Department took the mine to a remote location and safely detonated it after midnight. The Coast Guard provided a safety zone around the device as it exploded.
To find out how you can watch the Pentagon Channel where you live, contact Dish Network.
PSP share prices for Monday, August 28th opened at $11.52 for the G Fund, $10.87 for the F Fund, $14.23 for the C Fund, $16.71 for the S Fund, and $19.84 for the I Fund. For the Pentagon Channel, I'm Army Sergeant Lee McMahon.